Welcome to Peace, Freedom, and Joy for Changemakers. I am your host, Michelle Vande Hey, and today's 5-minute message is 40 and free to choose me. So this is kind of funny because I went into my podcast platform before this episode, which I don't think I'd ever done before because I was just wanting to look at all of the different titles to hone in on the message for today. And I realized that this is the 40th episode of this podcast. And in just over a month, I'm going to be turning 40. And this number 40 has been just having a lot of meaning for me lately. And so I thought, why not celebrate the 40th episode with all of you? So, yay, if you've been here for 40 episodes, and welcome if this is your first episode listening to the podcast. And where I was taking this from is what I feel like I'm moving into as I move into my 40th year, into a new decade of my life, of how I want to feel in this next decade. And I feel like everything I've been doing over the last 4 years has really led up to choosing me and allowing myself to be me. This message is for all of you as well. So, part of this message is choosing you and being you. And being you is really being your authentic self, not having to hide who you are, not having to be someone for someone else if you're not also able to be someone for yourself, or not having to be someone for someone else to negate who you truly are at your core. And so there's a couple pieces to this, but what this is not about free to be you or free to be me or free to choose you. This is not about being an individualist. This is not about I'm choosing me over the collective. I'm choosing me over everyone else in my life. And I know those of you that are listening to this message, whether in the Facebook group or on the podcast, those of you that are listening to this, having that individualist mentality where I do everything for myself over the collective first is probably not your first thought. But sometimes, even though that might not be you, you may have that mindset and you may have that ingrained into you from your childhood and from culture. And that's why you oftentimes don't choose yourself. That's why you oftentimes are emotionally, physically, and mentally exhausted because you're so used to sacrificing all of yourself because you don't want to be someone who only thinks of themselves. And so I'm here to tell you that you can think of yourself, you can choose you, and you can choose your mission. So for me, I'm not choosing me and I'm not allowing myself to be the true me despite or instead of my mission. I'm choosing me and I'm allowing myself to be fully myself for my mission. Because when I am fully aligned with myself and I take time to choose myself, then I can show up better for my mission and my mission thrives and it flourishes. And that's the same for you. Whether you're the founder of your mission or you are the leader of someone else's mission, this can still apply for you. That you're doing this for the mission. You're not doing it despite the mission. Because oftentimes when we think about that of like choosing ourselves, sometimes it's like we can think of diet culture, for instance, where let's say you're following a certain diet plan and you're like, oh, I'm not allowed to eat past 7 o'clock at night, or I'm not allowed to eat carbs or whatever. Let's just say that. And then all of a sudden you just decide you're just kind of like, F it. I'm, I can do what I want. I'm doing this. I'm eating carbs. I'm eating after 7 o'clock because I'm an adult. I can choose what I want to do. And you're doing it from this mentality of kind of being rebellious and fighting this. And what I'm saying is you might still be choosing the same thing. So with that situation of diet culture, you might still choose to have carbs or eat after 7, but instead of doing it from this mentality of fighting against something, you're choosing it from this place of, I'm just choosing me. and I'm allowing myself to be me. And this is something I want right now, not because I'm trying to fight against something else or prove that I'm an independent person or prove that I don't have to follow someone else's rules. I'm doing it because that's what I want for me. And I want that for you too. So part of this for me is even this is something I'm very much working hard on is being proud and sharing about being an intersex person. And for me, part of that is when I found out when I was 15 years old, the internet was still very young. There wasn't Google at the time, or if there was, really, people weren't really using it. There weren't support groups out there that were easy to find. And so this was something that wasn't well known. And so parents, doctors, they're like, don't tell people because we want you to stay safe. And in the climate that we're in, for some people, it isn't always safe. And sometimes I don't always feel safe sharing those things. But I'm moving into this next decade of my life in the 40s of allowing myself to feel more freedom to do that. And part of that is putting myself in those safe spaces and choosing myself and not choosing other people over me. And then the second part of that, when you're choosing yourself for your mission, it's choosing your mental health. It's choosing your physical health. It's choosing your emotional and spiritual health so that you can show up so powerfully and beautifully and strong and confident for your mission. And when you're doing this, you're going to raise more funds. You're going to have more fun. You are going to be able to hire the right people. And yes, there are still going to be obstacles and challenges. But when you can stay in alignment with who you are and you continue to choose yourself day in and day out, you start to recognize who you are. You start to align yourself with your mission outside of your mission, that your identity isn't your mission, but that your identity outside of your mission isn't aligned with that. And that energy that you're bringing, that energetic frequency that you're bringing is raising your mission because you're raising your energetic frequency. And that allows you to raise more funds, hire the right people, be connected to the right people, and all of those different types of things. This is a celebration of me and a celebration of you and a celebration of us in my year of turning 40 in our 40th episode of Peace, Freedom, and Joy for Changemakers. So I always want you to remember that yes, your mission is worth it, and so are you. That you can prioritize yourself and power your mission. It's not either or, it's both. If you would like to join the Facebook group, Peace, Freedom, and Joy for Changemakers, you can find us on Facebook or look in the show notes. Feel free to reach out to me via email or direct message on any social media platform that we may be connected on. I so look forward to hearing from you and for the next 40 episodes. I can't wait to see where they go from here and how we can continue to move forward and help you elevate your mission and create bigger impact around the world. Sending you light and love. And always remember that you are worth it.